They are an awesome machine. They are wonderful on startup and restarts. I'm going to start off with this unit so I can set it aside and move on to the other product. But we're going to squeeze our throttle and move our master control lever back to the I position. We have a primer. This is one of the few units I'm going to tell you. You want to make sure you prime this on your first startup of the day. First startup only, unless we run it out of fuel. After that first startup of the day, we don't have to keep repriming that primer because that system's already charged. 6 pumps on this primer. We're going to put it on the ground. This is not a unit I like to start in a hand-up position because I want the control of it. We're going to stiff arm it with our left arm. I like to put my knee on the back of the saw to keep it from moving around. Three pulls and immediate throttle response when we want it. We're not having to sit there and fight with it to get it to warm up. My restart, now it's been running. I'm just going to lock that throttle again. I know every one of your agencies is running the cutoff saw at some point, doing something. This is our only fuel injected cutoff machine this year. For 2025, we will see all of our gas-powered cutoff machines going to fuel injection. How about battery? We are slowly working battery. At present, our only battery unit is our TSA 230. 3-inch cut. We're getting there, guys. It's on the product table, it's on the design table. We just got to give us time to get the product on the market, to get the testing done, to make sure it meets our standards so it meets your standards. Most of your agencies are running a 362, a 360, a 261. This is a MS400C. It's all pretty much going to be the same design. We're going to grab that throttle trigger. We're going to push down on our master control lever on the back to the startup position. Down on the ground. Once again, I'm stiff armed. My foot's in the loop. Now, I had the conversation with somebody yesterday. Will you let that warm up, right? Before you go to running it? No, we're not going to set that saw aside and let it idle for a minute or two. That's a bad thing to do. We don't want to let that thing sit there generating heat for no reason. Air-cooled engines are designed to be run with wide open throttle. And they're designed to be run wide open throttle so you're getting enough airflow to keep it cool so we don't have problems. Now, I pull out our battery saw. As most of you know, and those of you who don't will know after I'm done with this. Industry standards in California have pushed the small engine industry into the battery production. Stihl designs these units. We know what a chainsaw is supposed to look like, feel like, and operate like. If you look at the two other units I have here, these don't look like a toy on the shelf. They don't feel like a toy in your hands, and they perform like a real saw when we're there. Advantages with going with battery: we don't have to worry about fuel. We do not have to worry about pull rope. And when we're out there on a stormy night, these are designed to take the weather. You know, check our charge in the battery before we ever leave the shop. Make sure the chain brake's deactivated. That fast, I'm ready to go with that saw, folks. I'm not yanking on a rope. You know, it's storming, it's raining, I'm getting wet, I'm getting mad. I don't want to be out here anymore, boss. Why? Contact the TSS in your area, request a demonstration at your locations, see what this equipment will do. Any questions for me?
How long will that battery last in that saw?
200 to 300 cuts depending on what you're getting into.
What was it?
200 to 300 cuts depending on what you're getting into. The other rating is 45 minutes to an hour. But being more realistic with a chainsaw, we are working with cuts. Now, taking this a different direction. How many of you operate pole saws out in the field? And the question is, when you're operating that pole saw, do we ever operate with it like that? Should you understand? Yeah, stand under your cut? I hope you're not. That's the way to end up seriously injured or dead in a huge hurry. High school classmate of mine working for a major tree trimming service literally shortened himself 2 inches after getting hit in the head with a log coming out of a tree that somebody else was cutting. You know, common sense when operating a chainsaw. We want to be at approximately a 22 to 45 degree angle off of this to give ourselves the ability to step back. Just like they talked about how to operate the chainsaw video, when you're operating a pole saw, you need to look around about what's my exit strategies as I'm there. I want to make sure I have a clear path with this unit so I can take a step back as it comes to the ground. A, so I don't have to worry about this catching something, and B, me not tripping over something and having this coming back and hitting me. Our operating height should be no higher than our waist for the base of the machine. We do not want the machine up overhead. That's a big no. We have no control once again.
So how do you start it?
It's a battery machine.
Oh, you just press
So I'm going to push up. Now, if any of you are familiar with Stihl product, this pole saw is the equivalent of our HT 135 pole saw. This is the HTA 135. Its componentry from the shaft out is all the same as that gas unit. Are these one-handled saws? Do we run these with one hand?
No.
You can go home, sir. Should we ever run a saw with one hand?
No.
There is no manufacturer on the market building a saw with one hand. These are designed for climbing. They're compact, so you don't have a big saw hanging off. They both have the belt, the hook on the back one, hook to your belt. Of course, our main difference here is battery to gas. We are 2 pounds heavier with our battery saw. We're running the same bar and chain, same power output, same cutting time. What's the advantage I have of this battery unit? When I'm 50 feet in the air, do I have to pull a rope?
No.
What's safer? Hanging off the rope backwards, trying to get myself positioned right and steady right so I can pull the rope? As I brace myself, make sure my chain brake's disengaged, push the button. We're ready to go. Now, one thing I will tell you, all of our battery saws still require hearing protection. They all hit the over the 90 decibel limit. You need to be putting on earplugs to be running them on job site. That being said, we are still quieter than the gas-powered unit. Going out with the battery-powered units, how many of you have the time constraint of, I can't start till a certain time? This breaks that barrier. You can get out there and start earlier in the day. Be ready to go. Yep, it takes the bang. Keep on going. Same output as my BG86. This is a BGA86. Same output, not nearly as loud, guys. You can get out there and start working, clearing those intersections out. One last thing. How many of you are out there trimming around intersections, parking lots, parks, and you have to worry about vehicles and pedestrians and throwing stuff at them and getting them hit with debris? How many of you have ever seen an RG trimmer? That blade does not spin, it reciprocates back and forth. One purpose, it will cut and it will drop. You don't have to worry about objects flying. Our state parks that have already started using this just keep buying more of them because they found the effectiveness of it. And like they've said to me several times, one chainsaw repair, or one windshield repair, excuse me, pays for one attachment. It doesn't take long to get there.
Is that an attachment to a...
This is a combi attachment,
Or just a whole unit? Okay.
but whole unit and all is cheaper than one, with batteries is cheaper than one windshield replacement most times. I'm at $1,200 here altogether with battery and charger. All of you are municipalities, I assume. Keep in mind, being a municipality, you qualify for Stihl Bid Assist. Stihl Bid Assist is going to allow the dealer to give you a 20% discount. He's going to get reimbursed for part of that discount. You should be making sure, if you're part of purchasing, that you are getting that discount. All of our combi attachments, whether you have gas or battery, will interchange. How many of you are running combi units at present? So for those of you that are, how many of you have the blower attachment goes on it? Do you have backpack blowers as well? So, specifications for the PGA combi attachment. This unit puts out the same amount of air on the KM 131 or the KMA 135 at full power as a BR 600. We can take our normal harness, snap it in, and we're just holding on to it, folks. It's not as much weight as a backpack blower. A lot more controllable. What I like about it the most is being I'm 6'3". When I have a backpack blower on my back, the nozzle doesn't go far enough to the ground to satisfy me when it's wet leaf season. This is on the ground, folks. I'm actually pulling up on a little bit so I'm not running that nozzle into the ground all the time. Any other questions?
Quiet today.
Back to you, Matt.
Have a good